The latest. Thank you for love and support. I appreciate you all. Yellow Papa still thinks and believe that Africa is still its colony. They want to treat us like children instead of treating us like equal partners. They still have the colonial mentality that Africa is their property. So they have every right to decide whatever that happens here. According to Corbyn, the West still have this colonial mentality. Instead of them to treat Africans as equal partners, they still believe that Africa is their property. And they have every right and control over us. They have the final say when it comes to the African. Africans do not have the ability to take decisive decisions on their own. They have to always come in the guise of helping us. That when something should happen, let's take in the Francophone countries, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, France thinks that he is the one that needs to go there and solve that problem for them. And in the guise of doing that, we know what they're after. That if it is Nigeria, Ghana, Togo, any of the British, UK is the one that will run into. And that these people end up spending a lot of money, neglecting their own people because they are looking for power. Because they want more money to buy bombs, to buy weapons, so that they can fight. They'll fight with who? Fight with who? Now, instead of these people to concentrate on the problems that are facing their people, they rather prefer to put their citizens into poverty, hardship, only to acquire weapons.
For what? Is it to continue a war, the Cold War, with Russia rather than searching for a way to end the Ukrainian conflict? Or is it about interventions in Africa where you think strategically, 20, 30, 50, 100 years' time, the continent with the most mineral resources is Africa. And that is why the interests are increasingly moving into military interventions in Africa. So I think we need to look at this as a sort of global point.
You have been very critical throughout your career also of British foreign policy, especially in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Would you say the UK has had the opportunity to reckon with its colonial past, or has it been playing imperial games by other means?
There's something in the European psyche in which the principle of empire has never gone away. I'll give you an example. Whenever there's a crisis somewhere in Africa or anywhere else in the world, and the European Union starts thinking, well, how will we react to this crisis? What do but reach for the former colonial power? So if something happens in Niger, in Senegal, Mali, so on, France must deal with that. Mm-hmm. If it's Nigeria, the British can do that. It's like the colonial mentality has never gone away. And in Britain, I think there is still a huge imperial mentality in the thought processes within foreign policy, in the processes within the military, and increasingly, ever since Johnson changed the strategy which had been adopted for 50 years of ending the global role of Britain militarily, Britain now seems to think that by spending so much on defence, we can have a global role. And so this thinking has led to the government in the past month announcing £5 billion cut in disability benefits in order to increase defence expenditure. So that means we are impoverishing people with disabilities, retaining a benefit cap on the poorest children in our society in order to pay for more bombs and weapons. Europe is becoming more and more, instead of the prosperous, equality-driven continent it was intended to be, is becoming more and more socially and economically divided as we spend more and more on weapons of war. And
to be fighting for that colonial power. They still want to be superior. They still want to rule the world. They still think that everything here belong to them. So nobody should come here. And that is why when they see that we are making friends with Russia, they have a problem. When we are making friends with China, they have a problem. When we are making friends with North Korea, they have a problem. Because they haven't been able to come out of that illusion and that mentality that Africa is theirs. That they have to wake up from there. This is a new era. And they should not live in that mentality that they will continue to have total domination over Africa. That these people, everything that they are doing is dominance. Like everybody needs to bow to these people. But they don't want to understand that empires have ruled before it got to them. And as much as they have collapsed, they will also collapse. Like we are seeing happening to them. They think that everything that is happening in Europe's country is the best. They think about their people. They are not all. But what the man is saying, their people are suffering. It's not what we see. It's not what they have allowed to be on television for us to see. That is what is actually happening there. We can fight and make Africa a better place. We are the only ones, and we know the problem is their systems and the leaders that they've kept in place. But we have the power to decide and fight against them, like Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are doing. If all Africans will unite, we understand that today isn't the problem. If we start thinking about tomorrow, Africa will be a better place. The African has to move beyond today and think about tomorrow. That is the only time we can get Africa to become the better place we are looking for. The solution is not about leaving Africa to these countries to become slaves. That is mental slavery. Believing that you cannot make it here. The only place that is better and you can find all that you need in life is Yellow Papa's country. That is the narrative we need to desist from. Africa has everything that we need. We don't have to buy into the idea that we are inferior, that everything white is good. That is mental slavery. We are the best. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world and in the United Kingdom.